Hello students, this is your Prasanna ma'am from NEET World. Today we are here to discuss about the topic Bryophytes and Pteridophytes from the chapter Plant Kingdom. So if you look into the general characteristics of bryophytes, bryophytes are said to be the primitive land plants or the first evolved land plants without any vascular bundles, and they are said to be amphibians of plant kingdom. This is because they have to rely on water for sexual reproduction. They have to rely on water for sexual reproduction. Next, if you see, they are the first archegoniate and first embryophytic atracheophyte cryptogams. First archegonia, that is a female gametophytic structure. What is archegonia beta? Archegonia is a female gametophytic structure. First female gametophytic structure, and first embryo formation after zygote formation. First embryo formation has occurred, or we see it in bryophytes, and these are atracheophyte because there are no tracheates, there are no vascular bundles. In algae, if you see, zygotic meiosis takes place, there is no embryo formation only. Only in bryophytes you will see embryotic formation, then next in pterido, gymno and angio. Clear beta? Next, these are non-vascular cryptogams we have discussed. Then coming to its habitat, as they have to rely on aquatic habitats because of the absence of vascular bundles, they exist in moist shaded areas, in hills, damp humid shaded localities. If you look into habit, there is no specific root, leaf, stem structures, but there are root like, leaf like, stem like structures. We have root like rhizoids, stem like phylloids, leaf like phylloids and stem like colloids. If you look into rhizoids are unicellular rhizoids you will see in liverworts. In liverworts you will see unicellular rhizoids. Multicellular rhizoids you will see in mosses. Multicellular rhizoids you will see in what beta? Mosses. Then plant body is more differentiated than algae, but then you have leaf like phylloids, stem like colloids and root like rhizoids. Gametophyte is the main plant body. In any plant body, if you see, there are two phases. In any plant body there are two phases. One is gametophyte. Gametophyte means what ma? The one which bears the sex organs and the one which releases the gametes. And the second is sporophyte. Second is what beta? Sporophyte, the one which releases spores. These spores, when land on the substrata, in the suitable substrata, they develop into a new plant body. Clear? So a plant body has two structures. What are they? Gametophyte and sporophyte. In bryophytes, gametophyte is the main plant body. It is because gametophyte is independent and photosynthetic. It is because gametophyte is independent and photosynthetic. Clear beta? Next. So gametophyte ploidy will always be haploid. Sporophytic plant body is diploid. Fix it in your mind beta. Sporophyte structure of a plant body only has complete set of chromosomes, that is why it is diploid. Gametophyte will only have half the set of chromosomes, that is why it is haploid. Root like, stem like, leaf like structures all are haploid only. Spore bearing structures, that are sporophytes, those structures are only diploid. Clear ma? Now, if you see, gametophyte it bears multicellular sex organs. Male sex organ is antheridium, female sex organ is flask shaped archegonium. It is what beta? Flask shaped archegonium. Antheridium is covered with a jacketed structure, multicellular jacketed structure, and inside Antheridium it bears a diploid androcytes. It bears what ma? Diploid androcytes or spore mother cells. They undergo sporic meiosis and they release antherozoids. Antherozoids are what beta here? They are male gametes. They are male gametes. They are biflagellated. So, biflagellated antherozoids, they will reach the egg and fertilize the egg. This process is called as zooidogamous oogamy. What is zooidogamous oogamy? Biflagellated antherozoid fertilizing egg is said to be zooidogamous oogamy. If you look into the female gametophytic structure, that is archegonium, archegonium has neck canal cells, venter canal cells, and at the bottom it is oospore. Oospore is also called as egg. So, this reaches the oospore or egg and it get fertilized. Clear beta? Now, if you see, the site of fertilization in bryophytes is always archegonium. What is the site of fertilization? Archegonium is the site of fertilization, and product of fertilization is zygote. What is the product of fertilization? Zygote. Zygote undergoes sequential mitotic divisions and forms an embryo. Embryo undergoes again mitosis, develops to a sporophyte. If you look into sporophyte, I already told you sporophyte ploidy will be diploid. Sporophyte is dependent on gametophyte. Sporophyte is dependent on what beta? Sporophyte is dependent on gametophyte for nutrition and nourishment. Sporophyte again bears spore mother cells. Sporophyte again bears, don't get confused between androcytes and spore mother cells over here. Androcytes are diploid, they will give rise to what beta? Male gametes, they have to fertilize the egg. But here spore mother cells which are present in the sporophyte, they undergo sporic meiosis. And whichever spores are released, these are haploid. All spores are alike. There are no microspores and megaspores in bryophytes. So, these spores, when they fall on suitable substrata, they develop into a primary gametophytic structure. For example, in liverworts, they develop into thalloid gametophyte. Spores will develop into what ma? Thalloid gametophyte in liverworts. In mosses, they develop into what? Protonema. In mosses, what do they develop into? Protonema. Protonema is the primary gametophytic structure. We describe protonema as green creeping filamentous structure. We describe protonema as green creeping filamentous structure, and from the lateral buds of protonema, the leafy gametophytic structure will arise in mosses. Clear beta? We will discuss more clearly in mosses. Now, if you see the divisions of bryophytes, bryophytes include three classes. They are Hepaticopsida, Anthoceratopsida and Bryopsida. Under Hepaticopsida, we are going to learn liverworts, and under Bryopsida, we are going to learn mosses. Anthoceratopsida, it is for EAP set, not for NEET. Okay, clear beta? Now, in liverworts, if you see, again the habitat is same as we have discussed in GC of bryophytes. Moist, shady in the banks of streams, marshy grounds, damp soil, bark of trees and deep in woods. If you look into the habit, plant body is thalloid. Though it is thalloid, it is more differentiated than algae. Liverworts are what? Primitive bryophytes. What are liverworts ma? They are primitive bryophytes. Fix it in your mind beta. So, here the plant body is again thalloid. For example, Marchantia. If you look into the thallus of Marchantia, it is dorsiventral, closely appressed to the substrata. Dorsiventral and closely appressed to the substrata. It has dichotomous branching like this. What does it have? It has dichotomous branching. Dichotomous branching you will also see in one brown algae. Remember, What is that brown algae where we have discussed the dichotomous branching? Dictyota, right? In Dictyota we have observed the dichotomous branching. Again in Marchantia we are looking into that dichotomous branching. Marchantia has rhizoids. These rhizoids are unicellular. These rhizoids are what beta? Unicellular. And as this is a gametophytic structure, rhizoids are haploid. Rhizoids are haploid. And this Marchantia on the dorsal side, on what side, Nana? On dorsal side, they bear gymma cups. What are they? Gymma cups. These gymma cups will release gymma, which will help or facilitate the process of vegetative reproduction. Antheridiophore will bear Antheridiophore will bear antheridium, male sex organ. Archegoniophore will have archegonium, female gametophyte. Archegonium, what is it beta? Female gametophyte. Both antheridium and archegonium, as they are present on the gametophyte, arising from gametophyte, even they are what ma? They are haploid. Why I am discussing with respect to ploidy is questions are asked connecting in links with cell division and cell cycle. Cell cycle and cell division, sexual reproduction of flowering plants from plant kingdom. The ploidies are connected and calculations may be given in your exams beta. That is why in whichever diagram you are focusing, focus on the ploidy as well. Clear beta? So here if you look into the ploidy, rhizoids are haploid, gymma cups, antheridiophore, archegoniophore, everything is haploid. And rhizoids in liverworts, they are unicellular. Clear ma? Now porella is also one type of liverwort wherein it has leafy members or leaf-like appendages, leaf-like structures over the stem-like axis. Over the stem-like axis it has leafy appendages. Clear ma? Next, vegetative reproduction is of two types, that is fragmentation and through gymma. Fragmentation we have already seen it when thallus is fragmented into different fragments. When thallus is breaked to different fragments, each fragment will give rise to a new thallus, that is fragmentation. What is gymma? Gymma is located on the dorsal side. Just now we have seen, no? Gymma cups are located on the dorsal side, that is upper side of the thallus, and they will release the gymma. They will release the gymma. Gymma will develop into a new thallus. Okay. Dorsal side gymma cups are present. They will release out the gymma. They develop into a new thallus. This again gets differentiated to or grows into a mature thallus. Clear? So here how you can describe gymma? These sentences are very important both for statement based and assertion reason questions. Do keep your focus on these statements, like how you can describe gymma. They are green, multicellular, asexual buds on the dorsal side of Marchantia plant body. Clear? They develops on small receptacles called as gymma cups. Matured gymma detach from the parent body and they germinate into new individual. Clear ma? Next, if you see sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction, before entering into this concept, you should be very clear on the notion about unisexual and bisexual plants. Homothallic or monoecious, which means that single plant body is bearing both male and female sex organs. So monoecious is also said to be bisexual, wherein single plant body will bear both male and female sex organs. It will bear both male and female sex organs. Dioecious, if you look into Marchantia, one plant body bears male sex organ and the other plant body bear female sex organ. Such a type is called as dioecious, which is also known as unisexual. It is said to be dioecious, also known as unisexual. Clear ma? So homothallic, monoecious or bisexual, where a single plant bear both the sex organs. The example for it is Riccia. Heterothallic, dioecious or unisexual, where both the sex organs are present on the different plants. For example, it is Marchantia. Next, so it has both antheridiophore and archegoniophore. Antheridiophore will release the antheridium with the help of elaters. With the help of what ma? Elaters are the structures at the apex of antheridiophore which will ease the dispersal of antherozoid. It will ease the dispersal of antherozoid, and antherozoid will enter into this flask shaped structure called antheridium, and it will fertilize with egg, forming a zygote. So, where is the site of fertilization? As we have discussed in the GC of bryophytes, the site of fertilization is always archegonium, and the product of fertilization is zygote. Zygote undergoes mitosis, converts to embryo, embryo undergoes mitosis, forms sporophyte. Clear beta? Next, in mosses, if we see in mosses have two gametophytic structures we have discussed in GC. So, here in mosses the first gametophytic structure is protonema. First gametophytic structure is what beta? Protonema. When a spore from sporophyte is landed on the suitable substrata, that spore first germinates to what? Protonema in bryophytes. In bryophytes mosses, that spore first germinates to what beta? It germinates to protonema. Protonema is a green creeping and filamentous structure. Protonema is a green creeping filamentous structure. Clear? So, here yes, this description of protonema is very much important. Description of protonema is very much important. This develops directly from a spore. Leafy stage which arises from this protonema, leafy stage which arises from the lateral branches of this protonema is upright slender axis bearing spirally arranged leaves. Upright slender axis, this bears spirally arranged leaves. So, if you look into ploidy, spore is haploid, right beta? Spore which is released from a sporophyte is haploid. Spore directly germinates into protonema, then the ploidy of protonema also is haploid. Ploidy of protonema is haploid. From lateral branches of protonema they develop, right? So, again they are haploid. Main axis is also haploid. Leaves also haploid. Spirally arranged leaves are also haploid. Here rhizoids are multicellular. Rhizoids in mosses are what, Nana? Multicellular. Clear beta? Next, if we see at the apex of this leafy gametophyte, we have antheridia and archegonia. Let us understand it better with our NCERT diagram. Funaria. Okay, Funaria is a type of moss. Funaria is a type of moss. What is this diagram about Funaria? Okay, so here if you see, sporophyte will have three structures here. What are they? Foot, seta and capsule. Beginning itself I told you the ploidy of gametophyte is haploid, ploidy of sporophyte is diploid. Now you tell me the rhizoids, main axis and leaves, what is their ploidy? Of course it is haploid. Okay, foot, seta and capsule diploid, nothing but they have the complete set of chromosomes, this have half the set of chromosomes. Clear? Now if you see more sporophyte is more elaborate than liverworts. In liverworts if you see, the sporophyte is not that elaborate, just antheridiophore, archegoniophore, antheridia is releasing the antherozoids which fertilizes the egg which is present in the archegonium of that archegoniophore. But nowhere we have detailed discussion about sporophyte, but in mosses of bryophytes the sporophyte is much elaborated than the liverworts. Clear? So, in capsule means at this region, in capsule spore mother cells are present. What are present beta? Spore mother cells are present. These are again what? Diploid. These are diploid. They undergo reductional division or meiosis and they will release out haploid spores. They will release out haploid spores. This haploid spores reaching onto the suitable substrata, they will germinate into what? Protonema. They will germinate into what beta? Protonema, that is a primary gametophytic structure. So, clear with this? Here the spore dispersal mechanism is also little elaborated than that of liverworts. Here you have peristomic teeth. On this capsule at the time of liberation of spores, you have what ma? Peristomic teeth. They will easily, or they will make the process of dispersion easy. Clear? Next, the examples of mosses include funaria, just now we have discussed, sphagnum, which is peat moss, and polytrichum. Many a times the questions are asked regarding the economic importance, that too from sphagnum. First, let us see mosses on total, how they are helpful. Mosses, they play a crucial role in plant succession. Lichens, we know they are the pioneers of plant succession. After lichens, it is mosses that build up so much of life in the plant succession, and they will also prevent the soil erosion by increasing the soil fertility or soil ability to bear the life. Next, sphagnum is also said to be peat moss because they can grow in marshy habitats. They can grow in marshy habitats, and the dead parts of them can be carbonized and fossilized. The dead parts of sphagnum can be carbonized and fossilized. That is why they are said to be peat moss. That is why they are said to be what ma? Peat moss, and they are used as a good manure and fuel as well. So, why is it said to be peat moss is done? It is also called as bog moss as it can build the soil in rock crevices, fills the ponds and lakes. Okay, as this activity is done, it is also called as bog moss. It is also called as cotton moss because sphagnum has the ability to absorb the water 18 to 26 times than its weight. 18 to 26 times than its weight. So, gardeners can use sphagnum in transportation of seedlings and cut plants. They can use the sphagnum in transportation of seedlings and cut plants, and sometimes commercial plants as well. Clear? Now, if we look into the life cycle of bryophytes, these are the mature gametophytes. What are they? They are the mature gametophytes. One is having antheridia and the other is bearing archegonia. These are haploid, archegonia, antheridia, again haploid. They are releasing out sperm cells, are nothing but antheridia, fusing or fertilizing with the egg. After fertilization or post fertilization, the product which is formed as a result of fertilization is zygote, which is diploid, that grows into embryo, again it is diploid. This develops into a sporophyte. Embryo develops into a sporophyte with food seta capsule. This is again diploid. Inside capsule which bears sporogenous tissue or spore mother cells which undergoes sporic meiosis. This releases haploid spores. Okay, they directly mature to a protonema. These are green filamentous creeping structures. Just by looking into the structure, you can fix that sentence in your mind beta. These are what? Green filamentous creeping structures. From the lateral buds of it, leafy gametophyte or the mature leafy gametophyte is developed. So, the life cycle of bryophyte is said to be haplodiplontic life cycle. What is the life cycle beta? Haplodiplontic life cycle. Why is it haplodiplontic life cycle? Because if you look into the complete life cycle, you can find out two equal phases of haploid and diploid phase. And in bryophytes, like question is asked, what is the main plant body? Gametophyte. Sporophyte, whether it is dependent or independent of gametophyte. Sporophyte is dependent on gametophyte. These are few points need to be focused. Clear? So, this is all about bryophytes. Coming to pteridophytes. Coming to what, Nana? Pteridophytes, if you see, these are first terrestrial plants to possess what? Vascular tissues. First terrestrial plants to possess vascular tissues, that is, for example, tracheids. As they bear tracheids, you will call it as what? Tracheophytes. First tracheophytes are pteridophytes. So they are embryophytic, archegoniate, tracheophyte and seedless vascular plants. They are what ma? Seedless vascular plants. Coming into the habitat, of course, cool, damp, shady, sandy soils. Next, main plant body here is the dominant sporophyte. There the dominant main plant body is gametophyte. Here the dominant plant body is sporophyte. The unique feature of pteridophyte is here both the gametophyte and sporophyte are independent of each other. Nothing is dependent on each other because both of them has so much self-respect. Both gametophyte and sporophyte are what Nana? Independent to each other. So if you see, sporophyte is independent of gametophyte and here sporophyte is dominant. This includes examples like club mosses, horsetails and ferns. We are here learning about horsetails and ferns. So yes, if you look into here, the main plant body of course is sporophyte and that is differentiated into true root, stem and leaf. Roots are adventitious, which means they can grow on any plant part, any plant organ. They can grow on the any region of the plant, that is why it is adventitious roots. Leaves are of two types. They can be small microphylls, large macrophylls. They are small microphylls and large macrophylls. The unique feature again here with respect to pteridophytes is here leaves or leaflets. Leaves or leaflets bear sporangia. They bear what ma? Sporangia or spores. As they bear sporangia and spores, they are said to be sporophylls. What do you call it as? Sporophylls. Leaf structures are said to be sporophylls because they bear sporangia or spores. Next, if you see, they are said to be sporophylls. If in case the development of sporangia is from a single cell, if the development of sporangia on leaves is from a single cell, then it is called as leptosporangiate. Then it is called as what Nana? Leptosporangiate. If the development of sporangia is from group of cells, it is from group of cells, then it is eusporangiate. If it is from group of cells, then it is what Nana? Eusporangiate. Sporangia or spore mother cells which are diploid in the sporophylls, they undergo again sporic meiosis. They undergo again what Nana? Sporic meiosis. If you look into the trend of evolution, there is no embryo, there is no occurrence of embryo in algae, right? Why? Because in algae, zygotic meiosis taking place. Embryo is first appeared in bryophytes because in bryophytes, sporic meiosis is taking place. Here in the pteridophytes also, what type of meiosis is occurring? Sporic meiosis. And here for the first time in pteridophytes, you will see two types of spores. One is homosporous and the other is heterosporous condition. If you look into bryophytes, all spores are alike, where you will call it as homosporous condition. In heterosporous condition, you will see two types of spores. One is microspores develop into male gametophyte and megaspores develop into female gametophytic structures. Clear beta? So this heterosporous condition you will see in Marsilia, Azolla, Selaginella and Salvinia. As far our NCERT examples are concerned, you remember these two. What are they? Selaginella and Salvinia. Clear beta? Next. So homosporous gametophyte is monoecious. All those plant bodies in pteridophytes which are homosporous, releasing spores of same kind, their gametophyte is monoecious. Now you have to tell me, monoecious is unisexual or bisexual? Monoecious, always remember it is bisexual. Monoecious means bisexual. Dioecious means unisexual. Or the unisexual plant bodies in pteridophytes, they are releasing the heterosporous or they are releasing the two types of spores, microspores and megaspores. In few, so this is the sporophyll structure wherein the leaf-like structures are bearing sporangia. You can see it clearly, right? Leaf-like structures bearing sporangia or spores, that is why they are said to be sporophylls. But in few plants like Selaginella and Equisetum, few plants, this sporogenous tissue is into compact strobili. It is into what, Nana? Compact shaped strobili, wherein as the sporogenous tissue is distinct to compact structure, you will call it as strobili or cone. Strobili or cone like appearance you will see in Selaginella and Equisetum. Next, so spores, there in bryophytes, in mosses, when spore is germinated, they are directly germinating into protonema. Here in pteridophytes, the primary gametophytic structure, that is, spores will first germinate into prothallus. Spores will first germinate into what, Nana? Prothallus. Prothallus, here it is described as small, inconspicuous, multicellular, free-living photosynthetic thalloid gametophyte. Their protonema is green creeping filamentous structure, and it is also photosynthetic free-living. Here it is photosynthetic thalloid multicellular. Photosynthetic thalloid multicellular, prothallus. Okay, fix it in your mind. Okay, next. Sex organs are multicellular and jacketed sessile. Heterosporous condition, megaspores will develop into female gametophyte, microspores into male gametophyte. Clear, ma? Now, if you see the life cycle of pteridophytes, of course, the primary gametophytic structure is what, Nana? Primary gametophytic structure is prothallus, which is haploid. Okay, this differentiated into mature gametophytic structure. Of course, they bear male sex organ and female sex organ. Male sex organ releases antherozoids, female sex organ possess egg. Post fertilization, they are giving out diploid zygote, turns into a diploid embryo. Diploid embryo develops into a sporophyte, wherein sporophyte have root, leaf and stem like structures. Leaf here is bearing, what it is bearing? Spores or sporangia, that is why it is called as sporophylls. Inside the sporangia, you have sporic mother cells. They undergo sporic meiosis. They undergo what, Nana? Sporic meiosis, and they release haploid spores. Haploid spores undergo mitosis, or they directly germinate into prothallus. This is the, what is this? This is the life cycle of pteridophytes. So, if you look into the life cycle of pteridophyte, here also you can observe haplodiplontic life cycle. What is that life cycle, Nana? Haplodiplontic life cycle. Both haploid and diploid phases are seen. Haplodiplontic life cycle. Clear? And here also you can observe zooidogamous oogamy, wherein biflagellated antherozoid is fertilizing the egg. Clear? And along with heterosporous condition, the most important feature of pteridophyte is the female gametophyte can retain on the plant body for certain period of time. You know, the female gametophytic structure, that is archegonia, the female gametophytic structure can retain on plant body for variable periods of time even after fertilization. Usually in bryophytes what happens? Immediately fertilization is done, archegonia is degenerated. But then here female gametophyte can retain on the plant body for certain period of time. But then it cannot live for long because of the absence of integuments. In angiosperms, if you take the female gametophyte embryo sac has integuments, that is why it can retain for long period of time. Here, due to absence of integuments, they cannot stay up to longer periods of time, but then for variable periods of time female gametophyte is present or retained on the plant body. This feature is said to be a precursor to seed habit. This feature is said to be what, Nana? Precursor to seed habit. This is an important step in evolution shown by pteridophytes only. So, whenever the term comes heterosporous, pteridophytes should come into your mind. Precursor to seed habit, pteridophytes should come into your mind. Clear now? Yes. Now if you see, pteridophytes are also classified into 4 classes. These examples are very much important, you have to remember beta. First class is Coelopsida, for example Coelotum. Second is Lycopsida, Selaginella and Lycopodium. Selaginella shows heterosporous condition, heterosporous condition. Equisitum belongs to Sphenopsida. This possesses strobili or cones. Pteropsida, it consists of Bryopteris, Pteris and Adiantum, wherein Adiantum has a very good synonym as walking fern, Clear? So these are the examples you need to remember under all the 4 classes of pteridophytes. If you want, you can also take a screenshot of it. Next. Economic importance are not as much as you see in bryophytes, but then there are few. These are used as soil binders. Next is they have certain medicinal properties, for example Bryopteris anti-helminthic property, and this is important wherein equisitum stems are used for scoring and polishing of metals. This is all about bryophytes and pteridophytes beta. We have completed the complete concept of bryo and pteridophytes. So yes, coming up with new concept which is most crucial for NEET and EAP set. Thank you.